Hey, welcome back to IntyCenter, everybody, for another whip around Fadeuce. So we'll start this week with Cy Young, as Cy Young makes his triumphant return for Northern Shore's Gales of November. As we have to ask the question, does this win mean that the Gales of November are getting their mojo back? Or does it simply mean they were playing heels? Young tossed 8 innings. He gave up 3 runs on 7 hits. He did give up homers to Kenny Lofton and Oscar Charleston, but he was backed by homers from Duke Snyder and Ron Santo. The Gales take the series opener 5-3. Down 2-1 heading into the bottom of the 8th, it looked like a Shaq of Their Own was going to drop another one to their in-state rivals. But a 7-run 8th inning, capped by a 3-run homer from Denny Lyons, reversed fortunes. And for the first time in the entire history of their franchise, a Shaq of Their Own gets a win over the Orange Barrels. Tony Mullane tossed 7 2/3 innings the next day. He gave up 2 runs on just 4 hits. Hal Newhouser, he countered with 6 innings, 2 runs, 6 hits, and both got saddled with a no decision because this game would go to extra innings. And in the 10th inning, Tony Gwynn would drive in Brooks Robinson. Tom Flash Gordon would open the bottom of the inning by giving up a single to Barnes and walking Ted Williams. But he'd rebound to retire Cy Seymour, Pete Browning, and Ned Williamson. The Barrels win it 3-2, and a Shaq of Their Own have still never won consecutive games against Interstate 75. We're going to keep moving those goalposts further and further away. Up 5, entering the 9th inning, Joe Madden called on Phil Niekro to try and end the game for Let's Play 2 against Stone Temple Seattle Pilots. That proved to be a bad decision because after a grand slam homer from Edgar Martinez, Stone Temple Seattle Pilots found themselves leading 10-7. They'd go on to win by that margin. Shocking Let's Play 2 to steal the victory. Byron Buxton hits a 2-run homer with 2 outs in the 8th inning to tie it at 3 for the Baby Yodas against Sithy of Ostenard. But Sithy would play a disgusting brand of baseball in the 9th. Terry Pendleton gets the leadoff double. He moves to 3rd on a ground out from Lou Whitaker. Babe Ruth flies out, not quite deep enough to score him, but Joe DiMaggio laces a single. Sithy get the walk-off. They win that one 4-3. Now, we here at IntyCenter have been telling you for a while that Satchel Paige was coming around. And Paige has done just that, dazzling everyone in a dominant performance against Ciorak. Paige tossed a complete game shutout. He gave up 3 hits, no walks. He struck out 8. Despite Paige's brilliance, the game was in doubt late, scoreless, until a Charlie Blackwell grand slam in the 8th. The only runs of the game. Amazings take it 4-0. Tex Houston, recently promoted to the big leagues by Family Madrigal, got a similarly dominant start, going 8 innings, giving up no runs on 3 hits, walking none, striking out 8, as Madrigal beat the Enhancers 3-2. Now, some out there might question why we heap lavish praise on Satchel Paige and give a footnote to Tex. Some would suggest it's anti-Madrigal bias, but those people would probably also suggest that Bullet Rogan is in the MVP conversation only because he's, quote, above average at both hitting and pitching, end quote. Hey, Clayton Kershaw and Andy Cooper both got the dreaded both guys deserve better than a no decision special. Kershaw tossed 6 innings. He gave up 1 run on 5 hits. Cooper went 7 2/3, gave up 1 run on 6 hits. He struck out 12. This one doesn't get decided until the final pitch of the game. That's when Bullet Rogan gets a walk-off single to score Carlos Correa, and the Gales take it 2-1. Honestly, the series opener between the Baby Yodas and Game of Thrones probably should have been the game of the week, but I didn't feel like typing up a recap for a game this long, so it goes on IntyCenter instead. Aroldis Chapman was handed a 2-1 lead in the 9th, but Yui from the boys got a leadoff single and scored on Byron Buxton's single. We head to extras. Dave Parker hits a solo homer to lead off the 10th for Game of Thrones, but Mickey Cochrane draws a 2-out bases loaded walk-off Chapman, getting John Snow to finally replace him with Dennis Eckersley, who retired Buxton to end the inning. We pick it up now in the 12th when Pedro Guerrero hits a 1-out homer to put Game of Thrones back on top. This time it holds. Willie Hernandez gets a 1-2-3, and the Kings of the North take it 4-3. Deacon Felipe, he was damned good against the Bandwagoners. He tossed a complete game, giving up 1 run on 4 hits. He struck out 7. A Shaq of Their Own take the season opener 6-1. Elsewhere, Spud Chandler was not messing around. He tossed a complete game shutout of the Baby Yodas. He allowed 2 hits. He walked 3, struck out 4. Game of Thrones takes it 3-0. Here's a question. What's a good way to avoid losing your 5th game in a row? How about starting Sandy Koufax? Koufax went 7 2/3 innings. He gave up 1 run on 5 hits. He struck out 7 and walked a pair. Corey Kluber, Mark Pryor, they take it from there. The Demonbags win it 2-1 and give a hard luck loss to Doc Gooden. Mike Schmidt hit a 3-run homer in the top of the 8th as part of a 4-run inning to tie the game at 8 for Let's Play 2. But Josh Gibson got a walk-off single in the 9th to win it. The Gales take it 9-8. Last set of games, we got 2 to recap for you. Pete Rose, he drives in 4 runs. Alex Rodriguez had 3 hits, and the Bandwagoners pummel a Shaq of Their Own 13-5. They take the rubber match of that series and win the series against the Shaq of Their Own. And we'll end this week on IntyCenter with the Enhancers and the Demonbags. We'll pick it up in the bottom of the 9th. The Demonbags up 4-3. Mark Pryor comes on to replace Grasshopper Jim. And Pryor gives up a 2-out solo homer to the pinch-hitting Hack Wilson that ties the game at 4th. We go to the 11th. The Demonbags get 3 runs off the unholy combination of Zach Britton and Blake Trinan. That gives Kurt Schilling a chance to get them the win. But a Luke Appling leadoff single was followed by a 2-run homer from Mike Piazza. Suddenly it was 7-6. 2 singles and a walk later, the bases were loaded. Barry Bonds steps up. He singles. He scores Jim Edmonds. The game is tied from 7. Somebody wakes Frankie Lindor up from his nap. He singles. He scores Paul Wainer. The Enhancers win it 8-7. The Demonbags don't record a single out in the 11th inning. It was just that kind of week and that kind of run right now for the Demonbags. That's going to do it for IntyCenter this week. We'll see you next time for a shortened Whip Around Fideuce.